All right, finger tapping went well. Let's move on to a new thing. We're going to add one finger to the fretting hand, or the left hand. I guess they're both fretting hands in this case because they're both touching a fret. Anyway, so same idea as far as how it starts. You tap a note, you pull off, you do a hammer on, but now we have an extra hammer on. So we got 16th notes happening. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 notes per, I guess you could say per phrase or per group pattern. Let's go with pattern. 4-note pattern. So you tap, pull off, hammer on, hammer on. That's what we got going on. All right, the left hand is going to stay put for the first 4 bars. Just on the 5, 7, 8. Tapping hand is going to go 12, 14, 15, 17. And then the left hand is going to go up to 7, 8, and 10. And then we go 17 with the right hand, 15, 14, 12. So basically, tapping hand is going to go 12, 14, 15, 17, 17, 15, 14, 12. Again, tapping hand goes 12, 14, 15, 17, 17, 15, 14, 12. Left hand is going to be 5, 7, 8. And then eventually up to 7, 8, 10. Alright. Let's get the metronome going. 1, 2, 3, 4. $100. 1, 2, 3, 4. $140. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, wrong note. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 180. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I goofed up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Why am I choking at the end on this one? What's going on here? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. There, man. Okay, so we are going to move on to a brand new chord, or brand new chords. So let's see. Let me grab. Turn that on, and then hold on. This isn't set up properly. All right, to reset this. No. Oh, there it is. Transform, reset. Okay, hold on. That off. I just delete that. And boom. Okay, here we go. 7th suspended chords. We are going to combine the 7th chords. Oh, why did it do that? Hold on. There's too much of a change there. Goodness. I didn't need that. Okay. Let me do this. There we go. And then, actually, let me scroll that down a bit. There we go. And let's do that. Okay. So, this is a combination of the 7th chords and suspended seconds and suspended fours. So, we're getting into new, more complicated territory. So basically, it says up here, the same way you make triads into suspended chords, you can also do to 7th chords. When a natural 7th interval is used, we use the label major 7. When a flat 7 is used, we apply the label 7. When you label a chord with just a 7, for example, C7, the C is a flat 7 or minor 7. Then the following chord formulas come from changing the 7th chords found in the major scale. The Roman numerals indicate where these chords occur in the major scale. I wrote these chord formula explanations years ago. I bet I can do better ones now. Anyway, that's the gist of it there. So, yeah, the same way you take the triad, so the major, minor, diminished in key, or doesn't have to be in key, but you took the major, minor, diminished, and then you took the 3rd interval or flat 3rd, you either lowered it or raised it up to create the sus2 or the sus4. So same thing we can do here. So we look at this guy, 1, 2, 5, and 7. So this is saying you take the 1st and the 4th chord in key. So like if we take your C major 7, let me change this over here. You know what? I'm just going to do this 1 second. I'm just going to grab this guy. There we go. Let's just use this. Alright, so we take a C major 7. I don't think I'm in tune. Oh man. Oh boy. Tuned this in a while. Oh man. Well, so much for just grabbing the acoustic to save some time. Alright, anyway, so C major 7, right? That's chord number 1. So it shows there, you can take this chord, just change the 3rd into a 2. So remember when we made a C sus2, we just took our 3rd interval, dropped it down next note in key. We also got rid of that high E note there and used the G. So there's a couple ways you can really go about this. You can take your C sus2, add the 7 in the same way you did changing like your major chord into a 7th chord. So you look for an octave of the root note, that guy right there. There's your C, B on the B string. Lower it down, half step, there you go. There is a C major 7 suspended 2nd. So again, go here, turn it into the C sus2. and then add in the 7. Or we can go here, get into the 7th chord, major 7, and then we turn that into the major 7 sus2. So either way is fine. And then like chord number 4, as it says there, it's like we took this F major chord before, and then we opened up that G string to make it the F sus2. Wow, I'm a dope. I keep playing one string too many. So anyway, we took the F major chord in the past. Then we took that A note on the G string, opened the G string up, basically let go of the A string, which gave us a 4-string version of that F sus2. And then what we can do from here is take that F note, lower it a half step to get the major 7th interval in. And that gives us an F major 7 suspended 2nd. That sounds better. So just those 4 strings. Other way you can do it, like the F major chord like this. So again, you can go either direction. You can go 7th chord first, then the sus2. So let's do that this time. 7th chord first. So there's your octave of the root note. 1st fret, high E string. Open that up to the open E. Then you got an F major 7. That A note on the G string is your 3rd interval. So open it up to the G notes. Then you have a nice F major 7 suspended 2nd. And then the next one on the list, chord number 2, 5, and 6. So all 3 of those can be turned into a 7 sus2. Now, like when we take a D minor chord, let's go with that one. So there's our D minor, and then we can go into the D suspended 2nd. So that's the easy one. And then we make it where we take our octave of that D note there, and we lower it down a whole step to get that minor 7 interval. There is a D7 sus2. So, common question people will have when I work with them, or common mistake really, is they'll call it the D minor 7 sus2. It makes sense saying that, but going on to how I was taught it, and how you see it all over the place, the common way, or the correct saying of it is just D7 sus2. D7 sus2. As it states or mentions at the top of that PDF there. So when you label a chord with just 7, for example C7, or in our case now D7, it has a flat 7. Remember, the D7 is a dominant 7, so D dominant 7 has a root 3rd 5 and a minor 7th interval, or a flat 7. So we're taking that kind of chord, well, in this case it's a minor 7, but still, like, you end up with the flat 7 in there, which is a dominant 7 or minor 7. So a dominant 7th chord has a minor 7th interval. So when you have here, as it shows on the screen there, the 1, 2, 5, and a flat 7, you just call it like, it's basically like dominant 7 sus2. But it's not really a dominant 7 anymore because you don't have the major 3rd interval. So we just say 7 sus2 to simplify it. So a major 7 sus2, so let's say I use this. This would be a D major 7 sus2. Because it has a root of 5, major 7, and the 2nd. Then we take the major 7, make it a minor 7. D7 sus2. So just things to keep in mind there. Now our G chord turns into a G dominant 7 or G7, so this one probably makes even more sense to change. So we want it to be a G7 sus2. Take that third interval, lower it down to that B note, or not B note, we lowered the B to an A, and then we got to get rid of that B string so we can put the D note on there. That gives us a G7 sus2. And then the other one there, the chord number 6, same idea. So we start with the A minor chord. We go into an A minor 7 by taking the octave of the A, lower it down a whole step. And then we take the minor third, that C note there, drop it to a B. There we have an A7 sus2. Let's see, what's another way of playing that? So here's another way you could do that G7 sus2. It's a lot harder to hold though. You can do it like that, 3 0 3 0 3. There's your root notes, there's the second interval, there's your flat 7, there's the root note again, there's the 5. Sounds more pleasant than doing it like this. But the notes are the same. It's just the octaves are played a little bit different. Alright. Ooh, my back's getting stiff. Goodness. Okay. Chord number 3. So remember, number 3, chord 3, we were looking at that Phrygian mode. Phrygian's got the flat second. So here we have a 7 sus flat 2 that occurs. So let's start with our E minor chord. Remember how we got the E sus flat 2? Well, we had to take that G note. We're supposed to get rid of that. But we can't lower that down to the next note in key because there's nothing back here. So we had to change that G string into a B note. That's the 5th interval. And then we had to look for another place to play or find a place to easily put our flat second, the F note. So we just took that E note on the D string, raised it up a half step to turn it into the F note. So there we have our E suspended flat second. But we need to put in that flat 7 now. What's the flat 7? Well, we got to go down a whole step from E. But look, we're not holding any more E's at this point. So what we can do is just find that note we need somewhere else. What is the note we need? We need, what's a whole step below E? D. D is a whole step below E. So we can just find a D note there. Easiest place, I think, is the 3rd fret of the B string. And there we have an E7 suspended flat second. You could also, one way of looking at this is it's a B diminished with an E in the bass. There's your B diminished shape. Throw the low E in there. Throw the high E in there as well. You could technically say that's a, well, having the high E in there, that kind of messes it up. But it's basically like a B diminished chord with E's as well. But what if you started with the minor 7? Then what are you supposed to do? So, going with how we went about creating 7th chords. And one thing to keep in mind, like, as long as you have the notes that make the chord, you can put it any order that you really want. Like, we went or learned how to change chords into 7th chords by taking a shape, looking for an octave of the root note, and lowering it down. So that would be how we went about taking the E minor and making it E minor 7. So we took the E note on the D string, lowered it down. But you could also use this as a minor's E minor 7. So putting that D note on the B string. You could also play this as an E minor 7. I'm just doubling up that G note there. So we got E, G, B, and D different ways. So that's an E minor 7, that's an E minor 7, that's an E minor 7, that's an E minor 7. Lots of ways to do it. Just like, that's an E minor 7, and 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 so on and so on. Anyway, so yeah, alright, E minor chord, E minor 7, well, we want that flat 2 in there to replace the flat third, so once again, we got to take that G string, get rid of it, because that's the flat third, so we take the G string, put that same B note in there again, because that's really the only note we can put on there that's in the chord and close by. So what are we missing now? We're missing the F note. So closest place to put it, again, be like right there on the D string. But then we just lost the D note, so now we got to find the D note somewhere else. B string. We end up with the same shape, really. So either way, you basically would wind up with the exact same ending there. All right, chord number 7. This will be the B. So we start with the B diminished. And then we can turn it into the B minor 7 flat 5. So we take the B note there on the G string, lower it down a whole step. There we go, half diminished 7, or the minor 7 flat 5. We still need to take that flat third and lower it down. So that's the flat third there. The B, or the D notes. D is the flat third of B. We need to drop that down to the next note in key, which is a C. This is the Locrian mode we're working with. There we go. Root note, flats 5, flat 7, flat second. B7 sus, flat 2, flat 5. Holy moly. All right, going through the sus 4 stuff, or the 7 sus 4s. So again, C major chord to start. Let's make it a C major 7. And then we need to replace the 3s, third intervals, with 4s. So we take the E note, raise it up to the F. There we go. C major 7 suspended 4. The only place you will have a major 7 suspended 4 is chord number 1. That's it. The Ionian mode is the only mode that we're working with right now that has a major 7 sus 4 possible. That's it. You can also play it like this. So you already got the F note there on the D string. You don't need it twice. You could play the G note instead. Sounds a little bit more pleasant. But either one is acceptable because we have the notes that we need. The C, F, G, and B. C, F, G, B. Between something like that. You're making a melody with 2 different ways of playing a C major 7 sus 4. We're getting some complicated names here. All right, next, the 2, 3, 5, and 6. All 4 of those chords can be a 7 sus 4. So D minor, turn it into the D minor 7. We take the flat third, raise it up to the 4th interval. There you go. A D7 suspended 4. E minor chord, chord number 3. Let's turn that into a E minor 7. Now we replace the flat third, the G note, with an A, which is the 4. There we go. We got an E7 sus 4. Another way you could have done that is here, turn it into the E sus 4, add the 7 or flat 7 here on the B string, the D note there. There's another way of doing an E7 sus4. Alright, chord number 5, G major into a G dominant 7, and then we need to replace the third interval with the 4, so B note goes up to a C, and we can bar down here the 1 and the 1, and get us a G7 sus4. Now, an easier way to do that, so again, we already have the C note here. We can play a D note there. Actually, nope, I am mistaken. Say we can do it like that. We could do it like this though. No, we couldn't. Never mind. I am mistaken. That's the way to do it. That's the way we're doing it. I was thinking of something quite wrong. Anyway, all right. Chord number 6 is next. So A minor 7. Take that flat third, raise it up to the 4. A7 sus4. And let's see. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's right. We can also do it like this. How does that work? Well, we got an A minor right here. The flat 7 of A is G. We could play it up here on the high E string. And then we take that C, turn it into a D note. There you go. Another way of doing it. A7 sus4. 0, 2, 2, 3, 3. 0, 2, 2, 3, 3. Alright, and then we got the Lydian mode. Good old suspended sharp 4. So in this case we have major 7, suspended sharp 4. What are we going to get here? Alright, so let's do the 4-string deal here. F major, and then we have the F major 7, and then we got to take that G, or the A note there, raise it up a whole step, so this way we have, whoops, the F major 7 suspended sharp 4. Oof, that is a pain in the butt to play on this freaking guitar. Root 5, 7, sharp 4. Now, let's see. No, that wouldn't work. Never mind. So, what if we do it down here? This might be easier. So, we start with the F major again, turn it into F major 7, and then we take this A note, raise it up to the B, and oof. F major 7 suspended sharp 4. Alright. That's a painful one to play on an acoustic. So next, final one, B7 sus4 flat 5. B diminished. Whoop. B diminished. B minor 7 flat 5. And then we need to take this and raise it up a whole step. But that would involve us having to bar. We could do it that way. I'm doing it that way right now. But there's an easier way. So, we want the E note to replace that D note. Easiest place to play an E, high E string. And then your pinky is on what string? The B string, which is the root note. So just do that. 2, 3, 2, 0, 0. B is your root notes, F is your flat 5, A is your flat 7, B is the root note again, E is the 4. B7 sus4 flat 5. Alright, now that you had that rundown, your turn. You're going to fill all that in. major, minor, or diminished chord first. Turn it into the 7th chord we need. Then the 7 sus2, then the 7 sus4. Got your usual 3 keys. Make the chords playable for you. Don't put it in if you can't play it. So again, major, minor, diminished for the first one, depending on it. I think you know what they are now. So chord number 1, put in the appropriate chord there. Chord number 2, or the second, well, not chord number 2. So bar number 1, Ionian mode. Put in the proper triad chord. Use your open chords like I was just demonstrating. And then, or bar chords if need be. 7th chord, 7 sus2, 7 sus4. Let's see what you come up with. Alright, that's a long video. Hopefully it all makes sense. Oh my, it's time for me to call it a night. Alright, any questions let me know, and I will see you again next week.